Hello, gamers and gamers, me Mutahar, and today I want to talk about something that's been a little too wild on the internet, Halo. Ladies and gentlemen, in the last couple days, in the last week, in the last 3 weeks since Halo Infinite has launched, I've heard nothing but complaining from the internet. Now, I've been having a good time playing Halo Infinite. I think it's probably the best Halo's been in a while, you know, coming off of the back of Halo 4 and the destruction that is Halo 5. And the weird launch of Halo MCC, which pretty much has now been fixed. Halo Infinite's actually a pretty okay game so far. I've been having a good time. I've logged in a few hours from time to time, and I keep coming back, which, in my opinion, for me, is a pretty good sign of a multiplayer game, okay? Rainbow Six Siege, for me, is kind of one thing that I have to take a hiatus out of, so really, for Halo Infinite to be in my rotation is a pretty cool deal. Now, I've been a Halo player since, like, Halo 3, okay? I've been playing this this franchise multiplayer since the third iteration, all right? And since then on forth, I've never missed a Halo game. I've always gone full cock into the franchise. Now, there's been a lot of complaining about Halo Infinite. In fact, to the point where the literal subreddit for Halo had to be shut down for a while, okay? Literally, this is shut down because there's been a few bad apples in the community that have basically taken it into harassing actual developers, okay? And I'm going to start off by saying, if you think that harassing anybody because of a video game is okay in your mind, seek medical attention. Touch grass, mate with grass. Don't touch a video game because clearly you're unhinged, motherfucker. But that's pretty much where I'm going to leave it at, okay? Because like with any large community, there's always going to be some bad apples. But there are a lot of people who are voicing their criticisms that are frankly being stifled out of nowhere. And I really wanted to touch upon this, okay? Because Halo Infinite is a weird situation. Because Halo Infinite is a game that frankly pisses me off in ways that people really aren't talking about. So let's get started with a few things. The progression, okay? So this has been a big deal for a lot of people. Basically, if you've logged in any hours into Halo Infinite, you'll notice that it has a battle pass. Because Halo Infinite is a free-to-play game now, meaning anybody can jump on and play a few rounds without spending a dime, their monetization has to go somewhere else, which means they're going into the world of cosmetics. Halo Infinite's big thing that works day one out of the box is the store. You can buy a crap ton of customizations, from esports skins all the way to the Battle Pass. Now, the Battle Pass allows you to rank up tiers like every other Battle Pass to unlock cosmetics. Except when this game launched, it basically was drip feeding. Okay, we're talking like little droplets of XP being given to you. So you got a bit of experience points, like maybe 50 XP for finishing a game, which is nothing to level up just one tier of the Battle Pass. The real progression comes from the actual challenges that you would have to do in the game. So sometimes it'd be like, you know, kill 4 players with a pistol or finish a game of Oddball. So basically you had to finish these tiers to unlock hundreds of XPs and then level up your Battle Pass and call it a day. With the amount of hours I put into the game, I'm probably at like rank 10, okay? Which isn't that far into the Battle Pass, but I haven't really given that much of a shit. Now, to be real with you, the idea of progression weirds me out a little bit because Halo has never been a franchise that's truly been about XP progression, okay? Halo 3 had a progression system where you got 1 XP point per every time you played a social game and won it, and you also got a ranked XP. So basically, if you won a game, you went up a point, and if you lost, you went down a point. It was a simple XP system. It's not as if you unlocked any crazy gameplay-changing deals with the XP. There was a armor system, but most of it was relegated to unlocking armor through the campaign or unlocking achievements via Xbox Live. The recon armor, get all the Vidmaster trophies, okay? That's pretty much how it went down. I never played Halo for unlocking new cock rings, okay? I mostly play Halo games for the gameplay. Signing up with my friends, joining into a couple games, having a good night. That's pretty much where most of my bulk comes from. Halo Reach then updated the actual, unlocking system, you could earn CR. With CR, you could play the campaign, the multiplayer, the forge mode, the theater mode, have a good time, and you would unlock little points, CR. You could then level up your character through actually playing the game and earning XP, then using that credits, the CR, to buy cosmetics. And I thought that was the best progression system Halo has ever had. Why they didn't choose to implement it here probably is because this is not a $60 game. This is a free-to-play game, and they definitely want you to pay for some tier skips. They definitely want you to buy some of these cosmetics because they need to earn money in some capacity. Halo 4 had an armor unlocking system, an XP system, and there you kind of had a bit of gameplay changing deals, but not much. See, for me, XP in Halo and progression is never something that ever really existed for the sake of modifying the gameplay. If you played something like Call of Duty Modern Warfare, you realize that, yeah, every time you leveled up, you got a new gun, you got a new perk, you got something new to play with. And over there, if you wanted XP progression, it makes sense. For Halo and me, I never really understood this. However, I get certain players. They want to get the new cosmetics. I get it. But see, for me, that's not really a big focal point of something that I have to criticize Halo Infinite for. Halo Infinite deserves some criticism. For instance, Halo Infinite is the one time in a Halo game that I've actually sat down and played, and I realized, wow, we don't even have a Slayer playlist. Slayer is effectively Team Deathmatch, and the only way you can play it in this game is if you somehow get lucky in the entire matchmaking system. Because with Halo, you effectively have an option of like going into the multiplayer, and sometimes you get Slayer, sometimes you get Capture the Flag, sometimes you get Oddball. And you know the best part about most of the Halo community? They do not give a flying fuck about playing the objective. So even if I wanted to play Oddball, the rest of the team doesn't, so we all just lose our games. Which means that if I wanted to just quick play, why I don't have a Slayer option weirds me out. So one of the community managers named Sketch basically detailed why he agrees with some of the complaints that people like me and a bunch of other individuals are making, and he gives some reasons as to why this is happening. So let's get down to reading some of it, okay? The team's plan for a Slayer playlist, I think, are more robust than what might suffice for an interim solution. I love the ideas and some of the variants they're working on. Those all require tuning and, most importantly, testing. Quality assurance is a huge dependency, and it's a critical part of the development pipeline that has been running nonstop for months to launch the game. So while we're reevaluating what it takes to potentially just start with a vanilla Slayer playlist as a shorter term addition until the more robust offering is ready, I think the main hurdle that needs to be addressed and may require more than is feasible before the holiday break is the knock-on effect to challenges and needing to reassess quick play and what that becomes. Historically, a Slayer-only playlist and an objective-only playlist has always resulted in the objective playlist quickly becoming unhealthy, because most of the player base doesn't want to fucking play a team player game. They just want to kill shit, and that's pretty much most online multiplayer gaming in general. You shouldn't force us to play Capture the Flag just because not everyone chooses to play Capture the Flag. I'm just putting it out there. It's not quite as trivial as pushing a button. At the scale and complexity of this game, any and every change could have monumental changes. So this is where they get really weird. We have UI limitations with the game right now in the way and number that the playlists are being exposed. We have complex and non-ideal progression and challenge systems intertwined in playlists and modes that are not necessarily trivial to decouple and change. Yes, the entire challenge progression system needs a lot of work, something the team is acutely aware of and prioritizing. I'm sure they thought a lot of this in between designing the monetization for the game, and now that they've released this beta and it comes across as too free to play, like Korean MMO grind, maybe it's time to backtrack a little bit. So I don't know what they're on about with the UI limitations. How is it so hard for the developers over here to implement a new playlist that players can click on that's just filled with Slayer games? I mean, in the previous Halo games, the community could literally create their own playlist. We could literally create Slayer with like a million fucking variants. Why is it not possible to do in Halo Infinite? What is up with the UI and the server backend that makes something so trivial actually so complicated. From a development perspective, I can't really process it. But to be real with you, Halo Infinite had the weirdest development cycle. Again, this game's been through development hell. It's been through the paces. But something as simple as this not being implemented yet is kind of baffling. Why this wasn't done on launch day weirds me out. They literally could create their own playlist. They just had an event where they had Fiesta Slayer. How is it not possible to just create a Slayer-only playlist? Hell, create SWAT, create everything while you're at it. I mean, Christ, Halo should just have these options to start off with. You can then add the maps and cosmetics later. Forget the progression for a second. I don't care about unlocking new helmets. I just want to have different playlists right off the bat. The other thing about Halo Infinite that I feel most people need to talk about is the fact that this is a Halo game that's basically launching in the most incomplete state possible. Right now we have the multiplayer beta, which we're obviously going to get more of it through patches as time goes on. But we also have to talk about the fact that the campaign is launching in like a day or two. And sure, that's going to be nice and dandy. But what about Firefight? What about a cooperative mode? What about Forge? I'm sure these are coming down months down the road, okay? A year down the road, whatever. But see, this is something that baffles me. Back in the day with Halo Reach or Halo 3 or really any Halo, we bought the game for $60. I mean, this game is still being sold for $60. Halo Infinite is pre-orderable for $60. But back in the day, we got all these modes on launch day pretty much set to go. All right, so I jumped into Halo, Reach for instance, played some of the campaign, joined into the multiplayer, joined into some Forge with friends, did some Firefight, watched some stuff in the theater. We had a good time. But then what's really wild is now with Halo Infinite, it's like we're getting a skeleton of a game and they're just sort of adding the limbs on piece by piece. I feel like that's where the real criticism needs to go. Look, Halo Infinite is the last attempt for Halo to get their shit together, okay? So far, the gameplay is great. People are complaining about the progression, and rightfully so. But I feel like we really need to look at this from a logical perspective, okay? Look, they're going to fix a lot of the stuff as time goes on. But I would rather they have most of the content locked down before we're focusing on what color helmet we're unlocking. I get that cosmetics are important, especially for the kids who are jumping in, buying battle passes. But really, the focal point for this should be having the game modes basically operable at the start. We should have Infected, we should have SWAT, we should have Team Snipers, we should have Slayer, we should have a lot of this stuff right out of the gate. We do not have that. So the fact that the community is focusing they're so horny for the battle pass progression when they should be focused on this is a little weird to me. But I hope that 343, I don't know why I said Bungie, I hope 343 Industries gets it together, gets it going. But in general, if you're part of the community and you're harassing the developers because of this, it's a game, all right? Get over it. They'll fix it, they'll get it better. But if your focus is on like things like progression when it should be the gameplay, what makes Halo Halo, your priorities are a bit wrong. But I really wanted to cover this because I had a lot to say about it. I wanted to get it out there. I know I went on a million tangents, but really, I hope Halo Infinite succeeds. But in order for it to win, they got to make sure the playlists are there, and they really got to make sure that this game launches and gets all of its components really quick out of the gate. The fact that we don't even have a co-op campaign on launch is alarming. But you know, hopefully in the next day or two, Halo Infinite's going to blow me away with the campaign. So I'm going to be streaming it. I'm going to have a good time. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. I am out.